Hi, I'm Grace Judson, and I'm recording this on March 17th of 2020 when we're dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. And I'm going to be talking about how to manage remote teams. Now, a lot of what I'm going to say is going to be relevant across any time period, any situation with remote teams. But a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is how to manage a remote team when you have been in the office up until now. So you haven't had to deal with this question of remote teams. Everybody has suddenly been sent home, and you now have to keep the work going while all of this is going on. So, what I'm going to be saying is really going to have a lot to do with just the suddenness of this change and everything else that's happening. So, if you've never worked from home before, this is a big challenge in and of itself, right? Figuring out your new routines, organizing your space, all that stuff. And if you're a manager, it's even more complex because not only do you have to figure out your own workspace and your own new routines for keeping everything going, but you also have to keep up with what your employees are doing and how they're keeping up with everything. So, yeah, first off, I just want to give you kind of a moment to acknowledge that this is a big freaking deal on so many levels. So, let's just take a breath for a minute because I think we can all use that right now. Okay. First things first is you need space for an office. You need a place, even if it's a temporary arrangement on the dining room table, that you can dedicate for your office. You don't want to have to set it up and take it down every day. You don't want to have to clear it and rebuild it every day. So even if it's your dining room table, try to make it so that you can leave things. Preferably, you'll have a place where you can close the door, both from the standpoint of making it clear to other people who may be in the house when you're working, and also to keep yourself out when you're not working. Because one of the challenges, if you've never worked from home before, is that it's kind of always there. And we're going to talk in a little bit about some of the ways that the schedule here is really different from a typical work from home situation. But maybe you have a folding table that you can set up in a corner somewhere, or there's a table that's normally outside that could be cleaned off a little bit and brought in. Whatever it is, it needs to be your office for the duration. And this is not a minor issue because if you have to keep setting it up and taking it down, or if you have a question of people who may be, moving things, that's just going to add more uncertainty and more disruption. So, first thing, do that. Second thing is as much as you can, and I know that this is a challenge right now, but as much as you can, keep to your regular routines. However, you normally get ready for work in the morning, do that. I know there's a lot of other stuff going on, but get up at the usual time, do your usual morning things, and for the love of everything, get dressed the way you normally would. I know that there's a big thing out there about people who work from home in their PJs, but you don't need to go all office formal, but at least put on clothes, whatever you might wear for going out grocery shopping or something like that. This makes a difference. I'm not just saying this because the brain loves habit and routine. And when things are so unsettled and so challenging as they are right now, that routine is more than just easier, it's comforting. It will help you bring down the level of anxiety just a little bit, and everything that we can do to keep ourselves in routine, keep ourselves in a groove is for our benefit, right? And the routine of getting ready also tells your brain that it's time to work, right? Not, play with the dog or do the laundry or whatever else there might be. Third thing, establish communication expectations for yourself and your team. You can't just bop down the hall and check in on people now because you're all working from home in different places. They can't drop into your office with a question. So having clear and specific expectations about how you're going to communicate with each other is crucial. If you have regular meetings, Keep them on the calendar. Use a video conferencing platform, whether it's Zoom or Skype or GoToMeeting or whatever your company may already have. What's important is that you use it because it is important to see each other's faces. It makes a difference. I used to hate video. Here I am on video, but it really makes a difference when you can see people's faces. If you don't already have meetings, regular meetings scheduled, I would suggest getting some on the calendar. You don't really realize until you don't have it anymore the extent to which you probably relied on just bumping into people in the hall, or the morning sort of gathering around the coffee station. So a daily, or yes, and I did say daily, or every other day video conference check-in. It doesn't have to be more than 15 minutes long, but it's a great way to let everyone know about project status, task status, and also just the normal social interaction that we're used to when we work in an office together, but we don't get now that you're not in the office together. It's important. The stress that everyone is going through right now, just being able to see each other's faces and say, hey, we're still out there, we're still together, we're still a team, it's important. On this same question of communication, you're probably already using some type of file sharing system, whether on your company's intranet or a Google Drive, and now's the time to make sure everyone knows where things are stored and to ramp up your use of it as a way to share information and share status. You're used to maybe some paper files. You may or may not have remembered to bring them home with you. So find out how to get communication going in written form online, on, like I said, on your intranet or wherever it may be. Fourth thing, give yourself and your team some time to get settled. All of this takes time, and productivity is going to suffer because everyone's getting organized in a new space. And like I said a minute ago, they may not have brought everything home that they needed. Working from home is significantly different from working in an office. And no matter how much you're maintaining established routines, there are still a lot of new things to get used to, including people who may be at home with you, but not normally part of your workday. Which leads me to the fifth thing. And I'm going to say this, there's a couple of things I want to say here. One is, you do need to be clear with family members, roommates, including the dog, that you're working. You can't just randomly stop to make someone lunch. You can't run to the store in the middle of the day. You really are working just as if you'd gone into the office. And that's part of why I suggested having a door that you can close. Now, having said that, that is the typical instruction under normal times for when people are working at home. These are not normal times. So many of you, including your team members, are dealing with family members who would normally, there's that word normally again, not be home either. Kids aren't at school because schools have closed. Spouses or partners are working from home because their offices have sent everybody home as well. So you may not be able to have those kinds of boundaries. You and your team may have to spread work around where you can, in between managing kids and other demands. And in this situation, we just need to be okay with that, and we need to do the best we can. I hope that your company's management is understanding of this, that your senior leaders are understanding of this and recognizing that productivity just isn't going to be what it would normally be, and that everybody is doing the best they can. We all just need to be okay with it and do the best we can. Finally, as I've kind of referred to several times here, everyone is freaked out and frazzled. Everyone is stressed. Everyone is worried. People are worried about themselves. People are worried about their jobs. People are worried about family members that may be at high risk. And this makes it even more important to check in with each other on those video calls that I suggested. As a manager and leader, you need to be in the know about what your company's policies are on what kinds of support you can offer to people, maybe somebody who gets sick, because I can promise you that the chances of someone on your team getting sick are very high. The chances that someone on your team will have a family member who's sick, very high. So make sure you understand what is possible so that people aren't struggling to deal with this at the last minute. Make sure that you get the kind of support you need, whether that's from your management, from friends who can come together to support you, from other people who may be in a position to offer some support, mutual support. So that's where we are. I wish all of us the best possible luck in this really challenging and very unusual situation. Um, I have to say this at the end of every video. If you like it, please let me know by liking it. Please subscribe. My goal here with all of these videos is to give you actionable, practical support when you need it. Share it with any of your colleagues who may need to know some of these things. Comment below. Let me know what your questions or concerns are. I want to be here to support you. And please, people, stay safe, stay well, and wash your hands. Take care.